I did this for Capricorn, actually. Let's just do this for everyone. So what's underneath this? If we're all balanced, because this is from the bottom of the deck, right? The underlying energy. We have the Six of Pentacles. And this is about, I'm guessing a lot of you have figured out a balance in your work, in your relationships. You know, I want to get back what I put into stuff. It's a really beautiful energy to have as an underlying energy, actually. Knowing that, you know, whatever you put in, you want the same back. And this is the solution to like codependency and all of those kinds of things, or where we're workaholics and we work extra hours and we don't get paid for it. This very much says, I know my worth. I know my worth. And what was underneath that? The Fool. The Fool came up underneath that. And that's what allows you, right? When you get this kind of balanced place, it's not because you want to stay there. You get to that balanced place to allow you to take a leap of faith, to go forward. Because you're grounded enough, you're stable enough now to go chase something new, to go do something new. We'll pop that over here. And so, yes, you know, very balanced energy, like I said. It's called the Charity card, and I don't really like that term for it because both people get something out of it. I see this as the minor arcana version of justice, because of not just because of the scales, but there is an element of fairness and balance here. And both people get something out of it. The picture is actually quite misleading because we see a rich guy giving to the poor. But his scales are balanced. That's why he has extra. That's why he gives it. He's not giving away something that, you know, it's not going to unbalance his scales. It's to balance himself, to feel balanced within himself. He gives to the poor. Now, they are actually giving him something back. They are giving him the opportunity to do this. So it is give and take. It is balanced, give and take. Nice, beautiful energy, like I said, to have as your underlying energy. And where does that lead? Well, we have the Eight of Wands coming up at the heart of this. Where are you taking all of that? There's this kind of sense of stability, strong stability that's here. But it's kind of like the launch pad of, well, where do I go now? Where do I take this? Eight of Wands can be communication. It can be getting the information that we want. It's opportunities that come in. And I want to say that, you know, that with the Eight of Wands, and I talked about this at the end of Capricorn's reading as well, that, you know, my biggest kind of concern with people, especially I see it when people book readings around this time of the year, is what will happen? That's what people ask. What will happen? And it's like, nothing. We'll have the same kind of year. This is about taking it a step further. Whatever happened in your past, it's left you here in this very balanced place. People that this reading is for, you're going forward. Right, you might see opportunities now where you didn't see any before. Everything might have looked like there's nothing there. You might be ready to have conversations with people that you weren't ready to before. And the reason I'm saying you weren't ready to before is because we have the Seven of Swords coming up in the past. Now, on a very mundane level, and you know I don't usually read generals like that, but at a very mundane level, think about this. With the Eight of Wands coming up, with its kind of a message of communication back and forth, right? Seven of Swords is a conversation that maybe you didn't want to have in the past. Or clearing up a misunderstanding. This is that liar, cheater, deception kind of energy, right? The thief and the knight energy. There could have been a misunderstanding. And now that gets cleared up. So that's a very mundane level message of what's... if I see it, I will say it. That's what I'm trying to say. So if I see a specific message, that's up for someone out there. But the Seven of Swords is in the past. You weren't ready to take a risk. And it did feel like a risk. Why would it have felt like a risk? Because you didn't see what you'd get back from it. You're not going to just do something for the sake of it, or that it's risky, or that, you know, this could be wanting to escape a situation. The Seven of Swords can indicate that. And that can indicate travel then in that sense. But there is movement forward. Movement forward based off of this kind of very grounded, stable energy where you find yourselves right now. And there's no surprises that the King of Swords comes up here. Now, have a look at this. If we're looking at the Seven of Swords as, you know, keeping things in the shadows, you know, we might have been working on something and we're keeping it in the shadows, or we're developing a new truth for ourselves, figuring out where we've been lying to ourselves. And as when other people don't lie to us, we lie to ourselves, right? It's that whole thing of, let me give you an example how I'm registering this energy. It can be, oh yeah, I'm working on myself. And it's like, you're not actually working on yourself. You're hiding away from the world. So you don't have to deal with triggers or conflict or all of that kind of stuff. That switches up completely because we have this person who doesn't want to take a risk, who's kind of being shady and hiding out in the shadows. to the King of Swords, who's upfront about his truth. He's very honest. He speaks his mind. And you're able to do that now. This is Aquarius. This is the card for Aquarius. Yes, you might be dealing with a Gemini or a Libra because it covers all the air signs. But think about it. This is allowing you now to be who you are, to step into your truth. Very kind of logical energy. We go from this kind of what's not real, where's the deception, where's the lies, to this is my truth. This is the reality of how things are. So this is that week, I think, where you kind of fully determine who you are going forward. And that's key here. All of the messages that I've been seeing in the dailies that I pull on Instagram and Facebook, they've been pushing towards this as well. That, you know, figure out what your truth is. Figure out what your narrative is. Figure out what you think. Because that's going to, that's the opening. That's the opening. Our narrative is everything. And this is your truth here coming out as the King of Swords. He knows. That's his thing. I know. He's the advisor. He's the consultant. He's the lawyer. He's the one that we go to for answers because he knows. And it's about knowing what you know, Aquarius. And I'm hoping that will make sense to those that understand what I'm trying to say. So where do you go from this? You're balanced. You know what works. You know what you're willing to put in and what you get back. This energy of, and it's kind of interesting because I've only done 2 readings so far, but even Capricorn got a difficult energy in the past. Like, that's the only thing that can trip you up right now, is if we go back to those old ways or allow that to creep in. This, whatever this was, you're not there anymore. The King of Swords very clearly says that. He's not hiding in the shadows. He's not sneaking around trying to get swords. He has his bloody sword. Biggest bloody sword you'll see. And he sits there in his truth, speaking his mind, able to find the words to say what he's thinking. And the downside of the King of Swords, and all the cards have, you know, higher and a lower vibration, is that he can detach from his emotions and come across as kind of cold. Trust me, I've had to do that recently as well. I've been over-explaining where I am, just to my loved ones. I mean, people that I give a shit about, not to just anyone, but I've been over-explaining it just to make sure that people understand where I'm coming from. Because there has been this very kind of mental, logical, you know, thought kind of energy that's been around. So what happens? Now you're ready for that change. Have a look. We've got death coming in. This is transition. This is change. And we have movement here. We have death sat right underneath the 8 of Wands. This is the opportunities coming now. And it's almost as if nothing happens in a vacuum. I say that all the time, right? But this is the spaces that are left. From whatever has been lost, whatever you've left behind now. That's what allows this new energy to, how it comes in. Because of this, the space. This is real change. And the thing is, have a look at what the advice is around this. This is what I'm telling you. It's so important to know what your story is, what your narrative is. I look at the comments sometimes, and you know when people say, yeah, I've given up or whatever. I absolutely 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you because that's your truth. That's your truth. Now, if that wasn't your truth, what would your new truth be? And the reason I'm going on about this is because the 3 of Wands is about your expectations. It's about your expectations. Some people are expecting more of the same. You will get more of the same. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm trying to show you how much power you have. And you know, sometimes we think, well, I don't know how to change what I believe. I don't know how to change what I'm thinking. I don't know how to change. What would you like it to be? What would you like your truth to be? Because it's the King of Swords that's sat there in the present, knowing what he knows. And, you know, with death, it's not the Tower. It's not an unexpected change. It's something that we've been experiencing for a while. It's slow energy. It's deep energy. There's been shifts and there's been movement and, you know, things being lost and removed from at a core, at a depth that, you know, I don't think we do justice to when we talk about, oh, you know, things leaving or grieving the loss of the old. But it's the birth of the new. The death card is about its cycles of death and rebirth. And that's where the focus is now. But what are you expecting to come in? This is saying that very clearly. Let's go back to that, what was at the bottom here. And it was the Fool. And I get why that isn't the underlying energy. Because it's not a real leap of faith. Not really. It will feel like it. It indicates that new journey coming in. This can be travel as well. Some of you might be literally traveling. Some of you could be waiting for news to come from abroad. you know, where you're going to go, or, you know, a different part of your country. It doesn't have to be overseas or anything. But it's not a real leap of faith because of that grounded energy. Because of all the shadow work that's been going on. Because you face this, the stuff that you weren't ready to face in the past, you are now. Why? Because now you know. Now you have the information that you need. You've let go of everything that you've let go of. And Three of Wands, what are you expecting to come in? Because there's never a surprise. Yes, you're waiting for your ships to come in. But there's never a wait and see energy in the tarot. There's no such thing as, hey, just sit there twiddling your thumbs and it will happen. There's not a single card in the tarot that says that to you. We are always doing something. And here, this person, he's gone to greet the boats. He knows they're coming in. And in some of the decks, the Three of Wands, there's not even a boat on the horizon, but the guy stands there because he knows it's coming in. He knows it's coming in. And he stands there with a plan. He knows what the cargo is on those ships. He knows what he's going to do with that cargo as soon as it comes off. So he has a plan of action ready to go. Do you have a plan of action ready to go? And it all stems from your own truth, Aquarius. Pretty profound reading. And I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say that I've got a feeling that most of the messages coming through will be like this. Because there's only one, look at this, look at the cards. There's only one sticky energy here, and that's the past fan. It's last week, last month, last year, whatever that is. And it can be there as a kind of, I don't know, thorn in your paw. I don't want to go forward because this happened. Or it can be, I overcame that. That gave me the knowledge. I kind of get the sense that this is lack of confidence and this is confidence in your truth. Maybe because some new information comes in. Maybe because you start having some different conversations with people. But this is transformation. Everything changes with the Death card. And so your expectations are going to change based off that too, right? Where are you taking it? Where are we going? Thank you so much for watching your reading. I am going to be doing a live outro. You'll either see the notification up depending on when you see this, or I will link it at the end of this video if once I've recorded it and done it, of course. I love you guys very much. I will see you next time, but that's all for now. Goodbye.